Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Bloom. Happy Christmas, everyone. We're all hanging a little bit today, but it's the biggest football day of the year, TV wise. The whole world is going to be watching. Amazon has got all of the Premier League games. There's a full round of Championship games. So here we go for the Championship preview. A whole 24 teams, 12 games, all in the one day is a bit of a rarity. So we'll try and get through this. And I am off to two of these games as well. Morning, John. Morning, WBA Vlogs in the chat. And WBA seems a good place as any to start, being today are on top of the league. It is, morning, Lewis. It is Barnsley versus West Brom. 22nd place versus top. West Brom, the tiniest of tiny little slowdowns, but given the standards that they're setting, 50 points in the first half of the season. Excuse me. It was a long day yesterday, wasn't it? 5 points in 3 games, which still, this is the thing now with West Brom and Leeds. They could, frankly, play at sort of 6 out of 10 for the rest of the season and still make it, given the huge lead they've given themselves. 13 unbeaten, 30 points over those 13 games, 2.3 points per game. Dean Garner and Gibbs may be back in contention as well. Be interesting to see if Bilic rotates. People say about the crazy period, but when you think about it, it's just another 3-game week, and there's been 3 of these in like the last 6 weeks, hasn't they? So Championship seems used to it. Barnsley are interesting now, aren't they? Absolutely brilliant turnaround from Gerhard Struber. 10 points in the last 5. The idea that they could be mathematically out of the bottom 3 by the end of today was very, very far-fetched, wasn't it? Last month, maybe even 3-4 weeks ago. Chaplin and Brown on fire, goals flying in for the Tykes. Thomas pushing for a start too. Now, Barnsley drew this one at the Hawthorns, didn't they? And given that they've been slamming in the goals, let's go for a weird one. Let's go for some kind of scoring draw. Philip says, we'll keep an eye out for me at Brentford today. I'm in the Bramer Road stand, Philip. So yeah, say hello if you see me. Let's go for a scoring draw and things that stay weird over Christmas in the Championship. Leeds versus Preston, 2nd versus 5th. John says Barnsley, surprising recently, holding on to Woodrow would be key in January. Yeah, and this is the thing now. I've done a video about the prized assets that premiered about half an hour ago. Barnsley, they have built their whole team on young under 25-year-old players. And you look at some of the other teams like Cardiff and Sheffield Wednesday, for example, where they have got quality, but it's all on the older players. You have to sell on and raise money in the Championship. So anyway, Leeds 2nd versus Preston in 5th. Obviously, I went to see Leeds at Fulham. Check out the review of that. And obviously, they lost because apparently I'm a curse. The end of a brilliant run for them. 8 wins in 11, 7 wins in a row in the middle of that. 1 point in the last 2. That's a big slowdown. I know I said 5 points in 3 are kind of jokingly about West Brom, but 1 point in 2 when you've been hammering out the wins like Leeds has is a slight worry. So they want to get that form back. And remember, there's the big New Year's Day clash, West Brom versus Leeds. Don't tell any Leeds fans that I'll be at that one. Pablo Hernandez pulled up at the start of the Fulham game. He's going to be out for a month. Done the old hamstring. Not good. How badly will he be missed? One of the best in the league. Pablo. Preston, they're back in quite good nick. 7 points in the last 3 games off the back of that horrible 4-defeat streak. Stalemate last time with Cardiff. Problems at fullback. Rafferty and Fisher still both suspended. Clark had come back, hadn't he? You wonder if Alan Brown's versatility gets abused again and he goes in at right back. So yeah. They coped without Pablo quite well last time, Leeds. So let's go for the home win, which would catch West Brom. Oh no, they'd be 1 point behind if they did draw. So let's go for a Leeds home win. Stoke versus Sheffield Wednesday is game number 3. Stoke bottom, obviously. Wednesday in lovely form, 14 points from the last 6 into 3rd place after that slightly fortuitous penalty against Bristol City at the end there. Darren says, come on Leeds, no Bloomy bound to win. Fair enough. Fletcher was unwell for the last game. Interesting to see what Monk does up top now. He's used Fletcher and Newey, Rhodes and Winnall. I wonder if it'll end up being Fletcher and Rhodes for the rest of the season. We will see. And we have to caveat every Sheffield Wednesday comment with and possible FFP in the future. Stoke, bottom of the league at the halfway mark, expecting them to be out after 10 games, then after 15 games, then after 20 games, but after 23, they're still bottom. John says 9 out of the last 10 seasons bottom at Christmas means relegation. Goodness me. 4 points in the last 6. And like all the bottom 4, way off 1 point per game. Ward and McLean doubtful. Let's call this one a 0-0 or a 1-1. We'll call this one a draw at the Potteries. I think Stoke will take whatever they can get, and Wednesday win the home games, draw the away games will do for them as the fixtures keep piling up. Luton 21st versus Fulham. Important win over Leeds. That gap could have gone to like 15 points, which would have just been ridiculous and really would have piled the pressure on Scott Parker, because you're basically ruled out of the automatics at that point, aren't you? Adoy is still suspended after his red card at Preston. Arter and Lamarche doubtful. Does Parker keep faith with a more running team than a passing team? Remember, it was Onuma and Reed over Knockaert and Johansson in the last game to close up or to compete with the Leeds press and close up on their brilliant passing. You would assume, don't change a winning team, that cliche. Maybe he will. Luton are on another 3-game losing streak. They're sticking to their guns. They're not changing their style at all. They're still outside the bottom 3, but in the last game, the last 3, Barnsley have taken 7 points out of them, Stoke 4 and Wigan 3. So it's all closed up a little bit tighter. And yes, Luton may be out of the bottom 3 now, but if that run goes to 4 or 5 games, they're going to be sucked right in there, aren't they? Sluga came back in the last game in goal with Shea having a concussion. Interesting dilemma given the money that they spent. Don't know what Graham Jones will do there. Sadly, because I like Luton, I can't foresee anything other than Fulham having loads and loads of the ball and winning 2-1 or 3-1. John says, am I right? Izzy Brown out the last 3 games? Yes, you are right. Key player there. It's been, God, it was a long day yesterday. Berry playing in the number 10 position, and no surprise, the goals have dried up without Brown. Brentford versus Swansea, 6 versus 7. Looking forward to this. I will be at the game, 2:45 kickoff, I believe. Weird time. Brentford took points away at West Brom, so they didn't flake out there to end that 12-game streak of no draws. They're down to 6. They're still in the playoff spots, though. They look like they're vaguely stabilised in there. 8 wins in 12 is brilliant. Can they now go forward second half of the season, solidify this? No Janssen, but Pinnock and Jean-Pierre. That's absolutely a very decent back to centre-back partnership. It should be a really, really good game as well, and I love to watch Mbuemo, Watkins and Benrahma up top. Swansea, back-to-back wins over Borough and Luton, so lower down teams, but you only beat what's put in front of you after the poor run. Back in playoff contention. This will, however, be trickier. Fitness tests for Wilmot and Surrey. Surrey just played his way in over Baston, and frankly, Ayew, who's kind of been moved back into the row off the front. So we'll see how Steve Cooper configures that. Hopefully, I'll predict a Brentford win, and hopefully it's 3-2 or 4-3 or something, because these two teams should just pass each other to death. It should be a really technically really good game. But I'm going to go for a Brentford by goal, let's just say. You can see Swansea scoring, can't you? Blackburn versus Birmingham. Goalless draw for Blackburn on Monday night. They've had the least rest along with Wigan. 7 unbeaten, 17 points in that period, so fantastic form points-wise. 2 off the playoff spots. However, Bradley Dack off on a stretcher, didn't look good. I don't know if they've done the scan yet. I wrote this a couple of days ago, really. So John, who is a Blues fan, says must win for Pep, I fear. They don't look good at the moment, Birmingham. Down in the bottom half, 3 straight defeats. Only 1 win in the last 9. Crowley's going to be back, I think. He's been good for them this season. Bit of an air of Warnock's last days at Cardiff here, where Pep is trying to do a different kind of configuration up front and in midfield all the time, trying to find what catches. They need some consistency. Midfield look, yeah, no forwards. Midfield looks fantastic, says John. Let's assume that Blues can scrape something. If Blackburn don't have Dak, that should maybe blunt them. Let's go for a low-scoring draw there, Blackburn and Birmingham. Charlton versus Bristol City. Poor run for Bristol City, only 2 wins in 7 now. 3-5-2 last time, so not streakily, but tweakily. If he wants to freshen it up, though, he does have good options here on the bench now, especially now like Corey Smith is back and Jay De Silva is nearly back. Nagy, Masengo, Elias and Palmer all on the bench last time. He doesn't want that squad to become much of a muchness, though, where he's got sort of 16 players of similar ability and no standout first team. But down to 9th, the Robins. Charlton drawn the last 2, so the defeats have stopped, but the form is still really, really bad for Charlton. 11 winless and only 4 points in that time. Lecco is now injured as well. No let up there. Let's go for a Bristol City away win. Sorry, Charlton fans. I don't see, until Williams and Taylor get back together and Cullen and Gallagher get back together, one or other of those partnerships, I can still see the winless run continuing. Hull versus Forest. This is 11th versus 10th. Forest dropped off a cliff, haven't they? 2 points in the last 5, 1 win in 7. 10 goals past that solid defence in those 5 games. To Jenkinson, Sal, Benalouan, all trying to work their way back. They look very solid and very stable. Not anymore. It's this weird Forest thing in December and January, isn't it? Hopefully, Mr. Marianakis is more patient than he's been with other managers. Hull into the top half. 3 wins in the last 6, 6 wins in 11, and the home form, 5 wins in 7. Eves could return. No McGuinness, Torrell or Stewart. But predictably, I'm going to say, if you've got Krasicki and Bowen, let's go for a Hull home win on that one. Dark Star says, morning Ben, feels like the middle of the night. He's still hungover. Dark Star, strange day, isn't it? Also, very, very strangely, it was like April yesterday, wasn't it? It was a beautiful day on Christmas Day, and it is very gloomy as I look out my window in Bedfordshire here today. We've got a few good, we've got 6th versus 7th, 11th versus 10th. We've also got 12th versus 13th here, Cardiff versus Millwall, and obviously Neil Harris against his old team. Be interesting, I know we've got lots of Millwall subscribers. Let me know afterwards how the reception was for Harris. Remember, it's the away crowd today rather than the home crowd. Cardiff, 2 points in 3. They got into the chasing pack, dropped down again into 12th, need to get going, don't they? Rules out. Hoylett and Bennett doubtful. Morrison with his Hulk Hogan moustache suspended. Surprise defeat for Millwall at home. Neil says, set on my front step having a beer. Outstanding. It just reminded me of one of those guys in the deep south of America, just sitting on his porch all day, watching the world go by. First one in 8, that defeat for Millwall against Barnsley. Pearson Wallace ill at the weekend. Thompson is out and linked away to, where was he away? Huddersfield. I think Oliver says happy Christmas. Important game for Huddersfield. We're going to get onto that one in just 3 games time. O'Brien might be pushing for a start. He's come off the bench and scored a couple of goals. Cardiff are good at home, aren't they? Let's go for nice one there. Let's go for a tight Cardiff win, which would be back-to-back defeats for Millwall, wouldn't it? Just Cardiff don't seem to lose too many home games today. Another close one, Reading in 16th against QPR, and I will be at this one too. It's a double game match experience. Look out for that. Down from Bedfordshire to Brentford and then across to Reading and back up again. Why am I doing it? God knows. We love it, don't we? QPR still over the place with their formations. Late equaliser, should have beaten Charlton, shouldn't they? Going into 95 minutes. Cost them 2 points last time. Into the bottom half, still conceding like crazy. Kelly back in training, the keeper. Barbe still out. Warburton, another manager, just trying to find the right formula. Remember those teams that did good? Well, look at the 3 promoted teams last year. We knew what their formations and their shape were pretty much by September, and they just stuck with them all season. Obviously, Dean Smith maybe arrived a little bit later, but we knew what he was going to do when he did arrive, didn't we? Reading through without defeat, nice comfortable win over 10-man Derby at the weekend. 1 defeat in 5, so they're keeping up that early Mark Bone form after a fashion. Miazga doubtful, Puskas and Yidam out, but you can still get a front 2 of Maite and Yao, which is pretty scary if they both play well at the same time. They can be absolute weapons in this division, can't they? Let's go for a Reading home win on this one. I think QPR... bit flaky, but you never know if there's a turns up, do you? It could be anybody. But let's go for both teams to score and Reading to win that one, which probably put them above QPR. I haven't checked the points. Shouldn't say things like that without checking. Fact check me on that one. 2 to go. Wigan, bottom. No, Wigan not bottom. I did write this a few days ago. Wigan have come off the bottom, haven't they? Eze Visa Jaria, interesting battle. Yes, actually, I was at the return game for this, and they were both at it that game. In fact, Jaria might have just edged it on that. There was 2-2, wasn't it? Good game, that one. Wigan, what, are they 23rd or 22nd? God, I'm not at it today, am I? Derby 17th. Derby really worrying form. 6 without a win. 11 away games without a win in all comps. Scott Malone suspended. Matt Clark not 100% fit at the back. Having a nasty old season, Derby, aren't they? Wigan, 3 straight draws. I watched... I didn't review it, but I watched bits and bobs of their Monday night, and it looked quite good actually. Wigan against Blackburn looked maybe as likely as Blackburn to win it in that last quarter of an hour for sure. Only 5 points in 11, though, is really awful. 5 without a win at home. Survival was predicated on that. Mulgrew doubtful. Right, let's go super controversial here. Let's assume that Derby are going to keep losing away, and Wigan are going to get their first win in 12 games. Neil says, I offer at the back for Wednesday, fill in the gap for Hector. So Hector must be ready to go for Fulham now, mustn't he? He's been training with them for a couple of months. Be interesting to see if they pop him in, given Mawson and Ream start literally every game for them. Last one is Borough in 20th versus Huddersfield. Now, they've got some really good matchups here. Martin quickly says, chances on Luton for a shock win. Need the transfer window in Cummings. So we've got 20th versus 19th as well. Some really good tight matchups. Hull, 2 wins and a draw in the last 3. That is decent. Still in the bottom 6, but striking distance of 16th now. Oliver says, even as Huddersfield, boring 0-0 written all over it. Yeah, maybe I might steal that prediction. Cowley, bit tight-lipped. He said he wanted a couple back. He's waiting on Elphick, Pritchard, Campbell, Quainer, O'Brien. A good few attacking options in those injured players, isn't there? Borough, 10 points from the last 6. Very good. And it's stabilising nicely. They've been very good at home against direct rivals. Although they're literally the only games they've won all season. So I think Sunderland are doubtful. Randolph still out. Oh God, Darkstar says Hernandez out for 4 to 6 weeks. That must be a hamstring tear then, Darkstar, mustn't it? Not good at all. I'm kind of influenced by Oliver's prediction now, where he said it'd be 0-0. I'll go against Oliver. I'm gonna have to keep going for Borough to every time I predicted them in these home games against direct rivals, they have won. So I'm going to assume it'll be 1-0 to Borough, because that just always seems to happen in these games. Which is either, if your glass is half full or half empty, Borough now will have no games in the second half of the season against direct rivals at home. So they've got to go and win some away games sooner rather than later. But I think they're going to set themselves up for it today. Right, that is all 12 games. Going to be a really, really good fun day. If anyone has any questions, please get them going in the feed at the moment. Let's see how this plays out. We've got the 3 o'clocks. Brentford. Why do I think Brentford's game's at 2:45? Oliver says he'll take that. Huddersfield always win when I predict them to lose. Yeah, standard with my dreadful predictions, isn't it? Yeah, so we've got a load of 3 o'clock games, then Leeds and Preston at 5:15, Reading and QPR. Follow along with me as I'm at 2 games today. So look out tomorrow. Shout out for Dawson of Wednesday this season. Neil, will he actually stay in now over Westwood? Because when I was doing my prized asset video, check that out, that premiered this morning. I was saying if he had a couple of seasons run now, maybe he would be their prized asset. But I just couldn't find any youngsters, young English guys, sort of under 25 to pick in that one. Colm says the highest team we face in the next 7 games is Hull. Interesting. If we're looking for the automatics, time to push on now. Yeah, anyone chasing Leeds and West Brom, this sounds stupid, they literally need to win 4 out of the next 5 games, don't they? And hope, even to get the gap to 5 or 6 points, that there's a couple of draws. H. Huss says will Leeds muck up promotion again? I don't think so, but remember last year when Pablo went off, didn't work, did it? So we'll see. Really want to see what Bielsa does in this transfer window, whether he had his fingers burnt by James last year and he really wants to strengthen and make sure he gets those deals done in January. I think if they just signed James, I think that would have helped no end last season, just a new body in. I still think Leeds need like a number 8 to play with Klitsch in central midfield. Hernandez had been in there, hadn't he? Costa has actually worked himself in now, but yeah, we will see. Always an interesting one. Leeds. So yeah, the double match review will be out tomorrow. I'll try and do a review live stream. We've got to try and keep up with all this stuff. But hey, no one's at work. Neil says he thinks Westwood will come in for Dawson again in the end. They've got to go with some youth sometime, Sheffield Wednesday, haven't they? This is the problem Chansiri's got with the resale value of the players. If he does want to raise some money for that FFP that doesn't involve flogging the stadium, then need to generate players in the Championship. Look at Preston, Bristol City and Brentford. They're the masters, aren't they? Right, I'm going to go and eat some leftovers out of the fridge and empty the 8th load of the dishwasher. Thank you everybody for tuning in on this Boxing Day morning. Enjoy whatever you're watching today. I assume you guys will stick with the Championship, but all this Amazon thing's all a bit scary, isn't it? Every single game on there. So hopefully the Championship will get some viewers today, but really brilliant day of football, Boxing Day, just hundreds and hundreds, tons of games to watch. So enjoy it everybody, and we will catch up tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter at Benjamin Bloom. I'll post some stuff from Brentford and from Reading as I go, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Over and out.